Okay, deep dive into advanced Teams development. I hope you guys are ready for this. So first, big thank you to Chris, Vesku, and Adam for setting this up. I think everybody's using Teams nowadays. Teams usage is through the roof. So I think it's better that we have some events like this which are online, where we can follow these from our own. So big thanks to those guys. Now, let's dive in. First of all, let's set up your development environment. So guys, if you want to set up your development environment, there's one tip I can give you. It's behind this link. So let's close my thing. So you go to google.com, you set up Microsoft, you type in Microsoft Teams development setup and you search for it. So this is the advanced session. So if you're stuck on that one, then go to Google. We're not going to talk about how to set up a development environment. We're going to dive right in. So first of all, as you all know, if we need Teams development, we need two items. So we need our manifest and we need our website to host our code. So that's usually Azure. You can also use Google or AWS, but let's stay in the Microsoft sphere for a moment and let's use Azure. Now, App Studio, I always recommend it. I put it in every slide deck I have. It really simplifies the process of creating Teams apps. I'm not saying that you have to use this when you're an advanced developer, but yeah, it makes life a lot easier, especially when you're doing proof of concept or stuff like that, or just to get started real quickly. As you can see, it's in the Teams app. So if you go to Teams, install it. It's in the App Store. I'll close this one. It's in the App Store. So you don't have to use the chat. You don't have to use the card editor. Just the manifest editor is the thing that you need. So just create a new app. It's way easier. I've noticed that recently because I've put an app myself in the store, and there are some things that if I used to do it like this, so Teams manifest example or full manifest or something, GitHub. Let's see if I can find it somewhere. Here's this manifest schema reference. So I used to copy this and started typing everything myself. Yeah, and the app really helps you because let's say I call my Teams app and this is the cool Teams app. Then of course, if I want to install it, then it already says, okay, you're not allowed to use, it's not in here because I didn't fill everything in, but for instance, you're not allowed to use any Microsoft names in your short name or in your full name. So this cannot contain Microsoft or Word or whatever, because yeah, those names are reserved for Microsoft only. And you used to generate your own GUID. Here's a cool button that does that for you. And just the small, simple things that you can easily overlook is in the App Studio. So as a good tip, start using that one just to get started real quickly. Now let's continue. What's in the? There we go. So we were over here. Now, first thing you need is NGWalk. I think that everybody is already using it. So for the ones that aren't using it, it's pretty simple. So we do Teams development. Teams development is online because Teams is online. So if I run something on my local machine, then yeah, Teams has no way to reach it because it has no idea what my IP address is or where am I running this locally in. Maybe there's a firewall in between or whatever. So NGWalk is actually a tunneling software. So you get an online URL, and with that online URL, Teams knows where to go for. So it goes to that online URL, and then NGWalk takes care of the rest, that it's tunneled through your firewall, to your router, to your local machine where it's running probably on localhost. So if you're using this, first of all, good tip, set up an account and get an alt token. There's a free version. I'm using the paid version, which is not that expensive, but it's easier because yeah, I go to a lot of customers. So I have a lot of different things that I want to run at the same time. But still, if you set up an account to get an alt token, the cool thing about it is that you can then create a configuration file, or it will create a configuration file for you and it will use that configuration file, which is way a lot easier because in almost every example that you find, you have to say, okay, NGRock start, rewrite host header, just an entire thing, and then you're running that NGRock, and then you get like a random URL. If you get a paid account, you get a fixed URL if you want that. But every day it stops and you have to set it up again, and it's a lot of changing in the manifest and stuff like that. So it's easier if you use a configuration file. Now, In that configuration file, make sure that you look at tabs and spaces because it is Python style. So it's a YAML file. I'll open up mine. So it is a YAML file. So if I see, these are my tunnels. So it's pretty simple. It's basic, the same thing that you do in the console application. So if I press play on my Visual Studio, this is the address where it's running at. So localhost port 3979. It's running on HTTP. NGWalk will automatically create you an HTTPS address as well. Its subdomain is then I can get a custom URL and then localhost, because if you're using Visual Studio is expecting that everything that comes in, so all the requests that are made are going to that localhost 3978. Well, because it's NGWalk, it's going to the real URL, so it rewrites the host header to that localhost, and that way everything keeps working with NGWalk. So like I said, it's YAML file, so if you do it like this, then this is not working and your configuration file is wrong. Or if I do it like this, then my configuration file is wrong and it's not working. So keep that in mind if you're using this. And it's pretty simple because now I just have to do NGWalk start all, and everything gets pumped up and everything gets fired up. As you can see, I get an HTTP and HTTPS for each one, which all go to my local host. So it doesn't matter which Visual Studio I'm running, which solution I'm running, it usually always works. Now, which is different than if you say NGWalk rewrite HTTPS, rewrite host header, stuff like that. So it's way more difficult. Now, there's also a cool tip with NGWalk. It's a tunneling software, so you can open up everything. Like for instance, if I want to create the simplest Teams app, I can just say, okay, NGWalk, why don't you, instead of serving me my Visual Studio, just serve me my Windows directory. So I just say NGWalk, there we go, just copy paste this, NGWalk file Windows, and there it goes. And now I get an HTTP or HTTPS endpoint, which actually just goes to my C drive. So if I go to this URL, let's see if I can do that. There we go, this is my Windows C drive folder. So as you can see, those are all the known Windows folders like Microsoft.net, and there should be a driver somewhere and program files, stuff like that. So if you really want to do it really fast, you can go to Teams, to your App Studio, and you can say, okay, I want a new app, and let's call this app My Files tab. So I already filled in the fields just in the sake of time. So it's nothing special, just a name and an app ID and a package name and a version and some information about me and some brand. Yeah, the branding I kept the same. But I just created a tab and I say, okay, this is my files tab. Let's edit this. So this is a files tab. I give it a name and an entity ID. So entity ID is just something unique for me. And I say, okay, this is the URL. Just go to this URL and you will find my C drive. Let's save this up. Let's install this directly in my Teams. And then normally it should open up. There we go. And I have a Teams app, which is directly going to my Windows drive. So I'm not recommending that you should do this because, yeah, let's say, for instance, my coworkers now, if I install this for my tenant, then my coworkers can all see my Windows folder. But if you really want to quickly share some files with your coworkers, then and you really want to do it to Teams, they can just serve this up. So if you have a server or something, you can put this on and people can browse the server. This is of course open. So if you guys go to this URL, you can now change my Windows. So let's turn this off real quickly, because otherwise everybody can go in my Windows folder, and let's not do that. But it's a good example of the power of NGWalk. It's also a good example of why if you go to a big enterprises have that, especially if you go there, they have security officers and security architects and stuff like that. Those people don't like NGWalk. Why? Because of this power. So you can open up a part of the enterprise through the firewall, through the NATing, to everything that they made sure that's in place to protect their environment. And now you have something like this, which then opens up a server to everybody. So that's why NGWalk, if you go to big enterprises, they sometimes don't like that. Now let's continue. I have to swap every time. There we go. Where were we? There we go. So that was NGWalk. Now tabs. I think you all know how to build tabs. Tabs is one of my favorite things. Why? Because it's super simple and you have a lot of reach. So people starting to use Teams, if you put something in the tab like a SharePoint site or a custom app or something, they can immediately see the added value of Teams, and you don't have to develop that much. You can take an existing application, maybe change a little bit, put it in the tab, and people are really seeing the added value of Teams because it's one place to rule their work and one place to do it all. But what's new in Teams now is that we can have some device permissions. Now, what are device permissions? As you all know, Teams was built in, what's it again? Can't find the name for it. It's the same thing that Chrome was built in. So we can ask for device permissions. So you can ask in JavaScript, you can ask, okay, can I use the laptop, the camera of the laptop? Can I use the soundboard of the laptop? Can I use the location of the Wi-Fi and stuff like that? So let's fire that up. I have a simple, start this up. Let's start my NGWalk, of course. So like I said, start all, which is again easy because I have everything configured. And this one should be running. Oh, let me close this one. I sometimes have some issues with my yes. Yeah, come on, startup. Wait for one more second. There we go. Now we're going. So I've created a simple tab. Let's go to the manifest. So what's my manifest like? Pretty simple, some static information. So it just goes to my normal URL, and I have a configurable tab which goes to my configure page.html. It's just an HTML page, nothing special, no .NET code, nothing, just a little stupid HTML page which is being served, and there I have my JavaScript. So I load my Teams SDK in it, and with my Teams SDK I can say, okay, because it's a configurable tab, I can read some information like my group ID, my tenant ID, if you need that in your backend logic, then you can always get that. So let's open it up and see if I still have it somewhere in my team. I think it's this one of those two, because I uploaded it twice apparently. No, then it's the other one. There we go. So as you can see here, so this is the configure page. I just click a save button to do something. But as you can see, I can get my email address, I can get my tenant ID, and I can get my channel ID. So if you ever need that, you can get that out of this configuration page. But the most important thing is in the configurable tab. So now you can see I can ask for, can Teams use your microphone? Can Teams use your camera? So let's allow this, and can Teams know my location? So yeah, now I hear myself twice because I'm using my mic. So this is my camera, and it's still on Snapchat, which is weird. But as you can see, I'm already here. So this is my location, and this is my camera, which normally should snap a picture. Let me close this one. Guys, give me 1 sec. I have to put the sound off a little bit. There we go. So, this is because I've been playing. Okay, let me refresh this one. There we go. Oh, yeah, I've been playing around with the Snapchat stuff. Okay, close this one. There we go. So back in the team. Out of this one. Okay, perfect. So how do we do that? Pretty simple. So we have our configure page, but we need our tab display page. So what do we say? This is default JavaScript configuration. So you can say, okay, please navigator, so please browser, can I get permission for my camera? Can I get permission for a microphone? Even notifications, so you can do toast notifications. Like if you, in your browser, go to Teams, you get that sometimes. Can Teams give you notifications? So you can always also mimic that behavior. And of course, the MIDI is a sound. It's still if there are people from the 90s here, they know that MIDI was the original sound one. So as you can see, I can even give notifications. So I should have a notification of hi there. Should be somewhere here. But I'm presenting, so the notification is not showing now. But you can even get notifications. And then, of course, you can get the canvas. And the canvas can then get the video from the camera. And with that camera, so I get my user media, I get my audio, I get my video. See, that's why I'm having duplicate audio signals, because I'm getting my audio. So if I put this to false, oh, there we go, put this to false, save, reload. Then I don't have an audio stream. I get that video stream and I present that to my video, and I can even take pictures of that. It's weird that the Snapchat stuff is taking over my camera, but okay, that should be normal, I'm guessing. So if I go here, it should load again. Where's my config tab? There we go. And I don't have sound again, so there we go. Looking for devices. No, where's my camera device? Should be somewhere. I can even take a picture and save that picture. So you can create your own Snapchat picture in the tab, camera thingy, to view pictures and to change people's pictures. So pretty simple and still cool stuff. The Google Maps, I think everybody has played around with Google Maps again one time. So just Google Maps and get me my current position for the geolocation. I can put a pin there, some content, so I'm on Teams Fest, and then it knows, okay, Rick is at home today, because I think everybody is at home today. So pretty basic stuff, but yet powerful. So that's that will make your tabs look real cool, and you can add some additional features in there. Are there any questions in the meantime? Let's see. Yeah, the echo. Yeah, I know, I had a loop. That's because of the double camera stuff. Okay, let's continue. There we go. All right, let's swap this again. And slides, there we go. We had this one. So we had the demo. Now with the bots. If you're interested in bots, I also do with Appy, Stefan, and Tommy a selected tech webinar every time, which is very deep dive into bots and sometimes Teams development, but usually it's about bots and see how we can do it. What's new in the message extensions? The reason why I put this under bots is because it's actually message extensions. They misuse or they use in the backend the bot framework. So that's why it's located under bot. If you search for it, message extensions the name has been around for a long time, but it used to be compose extensions. So you still find some references to compose extensions. Now, so what happens with a message extension? Well, the team user, they do a query to the Teams platform. The Teams platform, they convert that to a bot framework activity, and then that will come in as a compose extension or a message extension into your service. Now, it used to be pretty simple. There used to be search. So this is the manifest part. So you had to put compose extension. As you can see, the old name is still in the manifest because they have to support backend compatibility. You give it your bot ID, and then you say, I want to search for something. So this is around for about, I think, 2 years now. So it's been around for a while. But nowadays, you also have actions. So you have static actions. If you can use those, you just have to say, okay, I need this kind of field and I need that kind of field, and Teams will render the form especially for you. Or you can say I want the dynamic one, then you just get an iframe on top of it, and there you can put everything you want in there. So let's show you this. Let's close this one. Yeah, not running anymore. Let's start up the next one. There we go. Again with the, there we go. So let's open up Teams. This is my configuration. Start my, there we go. We're loading again. So what's a message extension? It's the little thing you see here. So you have a create card, a ping person. This one creates a card for me. So if I just say play, then it normally should go if my Visual Studio is already running. Yep, here we go. So we get on Teams message extension fetch async. So Teams will fetch my message extension. So it will have to know what do I have to do. So with this, I can create an adaptive card, and that adaptive card will be converted to a task module, and the task module will be sent back. So, of course, you have to respond within 5 seconds. So if you're developing this, yeah, sometimes you get, okay, doesn't respond, but it's actually working. So if I go to it real quickly now, as you can see, so now Teams render the form for me, so I can say, okay, this is my, it's my question. I can add a question. I can have a multi-select, yeah, and then question answer 1, answer 2, and answer 3. There we go. Let's submit this. We go process that one. We create another adaptive card. So this is the adaptive card I'll be posting in as a chat in the Teams chat window. So, and I can say, okay, this is my answer. Let's send it. And I put it now in the chat. There we go. So I create some example data. And now I've added an adaptive card from a task module. So I created that adaptive card from the task module. I took the question and the answers. And now if I add answers and I say hello, then this button will know it has to go to my back to my solution to be processed. So if I submit it, it goes to my solution as a chat message. But of course, I get some objects in there because I custom defined those objects. And I just let the bot answer, okay, Rick answered hello and chose answer 1 and chose answer 2. So as you can see here, pretty powerful stuff. You can create your own adaptive cards, your own layovers over Teams. But yeah, it's a little bit of work to do something. But as you can see here, you can do a pretty powerful stuff in here. So next one, I'm just going to keep this open. It's a little bit easier. I hope you guys can see it like this. There we go. Put it a little bit bigger. Authenticated webhooks. Now, this is a pet project I did recently. I just wanted to show you guys. So everybody knows webhooks in Teams. As if I go to my Teams and I say, okay, I want a new app. Well, here, manage apps. I can say, okay, I want a new incoming webhook. So more apps, incoming webhook. Everybody knows this. So what happens if you create an incoming webhook? You get like this weird URL from Microsoft. And with that weird URL, you can post, do an HTTP post call to it, and it will get dropped in the team. So I already created one, as you saw. It's in my app. So if I do a post, don't look at the code. It's like Docker run. So I use Docker to do the HTTP post. I could do it with Postman as well. Doesn't matter where I do it. Let me open up a new command line tool. There's my Docker. Oh, Docker's not running. Wait. I should have Docker running. Apparently it's not running. But you guys get the idea. So you do a post message to your team, and then it gets pumped in. I think I have something left over here. Yeah, somewhere. See, as you can do a post message and everything comes in here. Now, the cool thing about it is it's just open. Everybody can do it. It's pretty simple. You can find some JSON online, some examples. You do a post with whatever method you prefer and you post with. The problem is it's not authenticated. So the moment I steal your URL, I can post stuff to your teams. And with that post, I can do phishing with your Teams URL. The URL even that you get, so let's look at the URL you get. So if I say manage team, let's quickly create one. Incoming webhook. There we go. Set up connector. So we create a connector. Come on, Teams. Yeah, there we go. So test, create, and I get like this weird URL. Now, if you investigate this weird URL, so let's copy this one. We start investigating it. There's actually some pretty logic things in there. So what's in there? This is a GUID. This is a GUID. Incoming webhook. This is fixed. This is a GUID. And this is a GUID. Now, this one I recognize. This is my tenant ID. Now, the other one is probably my channel ID because it needs to know in which channel to post it. Then there's probably this one. I've investigated. I know it's that one. This one is actually my user ID, so I know that one. And the only one that's random is this one. So actually a hacker, the only thing he needs to find out is this ID, because this one, tenant ID, yeah, you could figure that out in multiple ways, the channel ID as well, and the user ID as well. So there are many ways to find those out. The only thing that's at random generated now is this one. So if I get that one, then I can post stuff to your teams, and I can post everything, so I can put in fake links, fake login pages, everything. So we actually need something that's called an authenticated webhook. So how do we do that? Well, we use the power of bots again. So let's say I'm creating a new bot. The moment you add a bot, let's open it up. Let's stop this one. So because it needs some time to stop. The moment you open up you add your bot, as you can see on member added, that bot will is able to scan who's in the team. Or if you add that bot even in the tenant admin center, you can add that bot and it will be installed for everybody. And so it gets all the members. Because why? Because you first of all need the channel information. You need the service URL, which is almost always the same. Service URL is the service URL that Teams uses. This is different per geolocation, so it's a different one in the US than in Europe. But yeah, those are in Europe, it's always fixed. And then I need my user ID, I need my bot ID, and I need my bot name. That's the information I need for a bot to initiate a conversation with you. So you don't start the conversation with the bot starts a conversation with you. So all this information I just save in the table storage so that I know, okay, who's talking to? It's Rick. Rick has this ID and the bot has this ID and the bot has this name. That's all the information I need. So the moment we add this bot to our team, it doesn't say anything. As you can see here, I turn it off. You can't talk to the bot, it's just turned off. But the bot is added and it saves all the data from the people or within the team. Step one. Step two is, okay, I need some kind of endpoint which I can call myself. So in this case, it's running on localhost. I just created an API, simple API, which says API test. It's just a controller, and it just gets whatever it's sent to the to that controller, it takes as a text. So where is it? It should be where's my API? It's not a bot controller, a test controller. So simple post, read what's in the body, and then create a conversation. Now here's where the magic happens. Create conversation, I go to my table storage, I get who's Rick, and then I get, okay, in which channel is Rick, and then I'm gonna start starting a conversation myself with Rick, but I'm not saying anything to Rick, no, I'm posting the data I got from the endpoint. So let's start this up. And with this, of course, I have my own API. This API now is open, so my test controller is open. Is it running? Running? Yeah, okay. My test controller is open, but as you can see, why isn't this not running? Okay. Unable to bind. Close this one again. My where was I? Okay, my controller was open, but I can put any type of authentication I want there myself. I can use OAuth, I can use some kind of magic token in the header. So if I say you have to give the code 1234, then I can check if the code 1234 is in the header. You can use the Azure API framework, so the API gateway. If you want that one, that's even more, but it's a little bit more expensive, but that's even more fancier. I just opened this up, but the way is, okay, now I control the authentication to my controller. So the authentication is now part of my system and not part of the Teams system. So it's not a Teams endpoint URL I get, but it's my own endpoint URL. So if is it running? Yep. So if I post to API test and I put something in the body, so let's say, I don't know, Teams Fest is awesome, and I sent this. Then it should normally wake up. There we go. Okay. And I should go to my Teams. As you can see here, Teams Fest is awesome. Now, where did the magic happen? The magic happened actually in, okay, I got who Rick was, but then the magic stuff is here. So I create a new conversation I have my channel information that I got from when the bot was added. As you can see here, still Skype, so still some old technology in there from Microsoft. I have my tenant ID, also got that from being installed inside of the tenant. I have my activity, so here, this is what I'm going to say. This is my service URL I need here, so get the service URL, and then I need to create a conversation. And this is where the cool thing happens. So when I create a conversation, I need some special authentication because you cannot say a conversation just normally. So I need to create a URL and I have to get through OAuth, I have to get the serialized request and I have to authenticate to Azure Active Directory. So this is a little bit too far. So I should somewhere have the Azure Active Directory secret and ID. Let me find it. There we go. So I have my configuration credential provider, which says, okay, Microsoft App ID and Microsoft App Password. This is the one I got from the bot. So the bot uses the App ID and the password to get authenticated to the bot framework, and then he can do an authenticated call. Otherwise, yeah, the bot cannot start a conversation, so you need to do an authenticated call. And this way you can manage. So okay, it's, as you can see here, it's a bot. It's not an incoming webhook because an incoming webhook looks like this, but I can give it the same icon if you want to. But the bot can say then, okay, let's pump something in there and let's have some authenticated incoming webhooks. Why is this needed? Of course, let's say I want to be notified in Teams that my server is down. Well, you don't want that information to go somewhere to a webhook that's open. Or you don't want, let's say, for instance, I can use an adaptive card that posts back to that URL. Yeah, you don't want the URL of your server to be open. So this way you can control the entire flow of the authentication, which is actually a good thing. So I had a demo with that one. So I have one more thing to show you, and then I'm almost done. I've created, like I said, the last thing I did was to create an app from the store. So it's called 365 QA. I think it's in the store. Normally should find it. Where's my Teams? There we go. More apps. There it is. I've added this one. So if you want to build some apps for the store, I can give you a few pointers on that one. That's really important. So Microsoft has a lot of documentation on how it should behave if you build the app, because it's really important that, okay, this text is correct and this text is correct, and it has to be the perfect, they have the perfect permissions, because if you ask too much permissions, then they will check that and they will say, okay, these permissions are not okay. The icons have to be perfectly aligned. The icons have to be perfect, same size, pixels, something like so. All that stuff has to be perfectly done. And then they will allow you to put something in the store. What did I do with this one? You install it in your team. I can get the Teams context. And with that Teams context, I know, okay, because there's always a difference if you have in Teams, if you call the bot like this. So let's see, where's my team? I don't know if it's installed in this one. So let's say this is a 360. Is it installed? No, this one is not installed. Do I have another bot? This one. So if I talk to a bot like this, the name is always in there. So you have to remove that name. Otherwise, the text you're typing is a little bit off because you use that name, and then let's say it's a question, then that name is in there. So you always have to say, okay, remove the recipient mention, which makes it a lot easier. It's automatically done for you. So then you get the real incoming question. I put that question, I go to a search, do a Bing search with your question. So what does the bot do? The 365 QA, let's see if I can find it. Then you have an example of it. So where is it? So you can type any question and it will answer it. It's multi-language. It only answers in English, but if you type your question in, let's say, for instance, German or French or Swedish or Dutch, it will answer you in the correct language. So you can say, how do I set my signature in Outlook or something like that? And it will go to Office support and it will look to all the different support topics that are there, and it will show you that one, and it will open that one. So as you can see here, how do I set my email signature in Outlook, and then it will find how do I set my email signature in Outlook. It's just to help people getting started with Teams and with Microsoft 365 in general. So actually it's pretty simple, and I always want to create simple bots because the harder you make your bot, the more difficult it becomes. So it's just a simple waterfall. What can I help you with today? Do a search. Again, what can I help you with today? Do a search. What can I help you do again? Search. So all the way like that. So just wanted to show you that, guys. I'm already done. If there are any questions, let me know in the chat window or to just put on your mic, whatever you want to. I see I didn't put on my camera, so I'll say hi to everybody. Hi. This is my name. If you have any questions, you can also email me or Twitter me or whatever you want. This is my blog, my GitHub. The codes are all on GitHub. So if you want to know anything else, then just let me know. And thank you for listening. And I'll see you guys. And I hope you have an excellent Teamfest. And don't forget to stay for the keynote at the end from Vesa. So, of course, and rate my session if you're interested. Be nice. Everybody already is at home going nuts, so be nice. Thanks, guys.